We're here this afternoon with Helena Hughes. Helena is in charge of a group, an organization called the Immigrants Assistance Center. My idea in doing this program, Helena, was to clear up the confusion that I had, that I feel a lot of people in New Bedford might have, and that's about what the Immigrants Assistance Center is. So with that, please introduce yourself and then tell us what we need to know about the center.
First of all, my name is Helena Da Silva Hughes, and I'm the executive director of the Immigrants Assistance Center, and I have been working here at the center for 32 years. I've been executive director since 1996. I was promoted to this position, and the mission of the Immigrants Assistance Center is to help immigrants overcome language, cultural, and economical barriers and help them integrate into the American way of life. That was our mission. It's our mission today, and it was a mission back in 1971 when it was established by a group of Portuguese citizens that were living here in the U.S. for many, many years, and a huge influx of immigrants from Portugal who were immigrating to our area in the 70s. So the Immigrants Assistance Center was started by the Portuguese for the Portuguese immigrants that were arriving. Our mission today is exactly the same, except for many, many years we service immigrants from all different ethnic groups. Not to say that the biggest groups, ethnic groups that we serve continue to be Portuguese, Cape Verdean Creole, and Spanish population, but our clientele is extremely diverse.
So I think the number one thing that you've already cleared up is that the Immigrants Assistance Center is a place. It is not a program.
No, we are a place, we're a center that has many programs that are based on the needs of the immigrant population. But this is a center. We've actually been physically in this space here at the 58 Crapel Street. We've been in this place since 1976. When we were established in 1971, we were actually in a North End, in a community center in the North End on Bullard Street. Then there was a fire. And then from when the fire occurred, we went to a basement of the Immaculate Conception. And then in 1976, we moved here to our present location. So yes, we are actually, this place, this building used to be Thompson Street School. And I have to mention that in 1971, which happens to be the same year that I immigrated from Madeira with my family, they had an accelerated program here at Thompson Street School. And I came here to learn how to speak English, an accelerated program. And then I came back in 1984, in January of 1984, and I guess I've never left.
There must be a reason.
Yeah.
I think we also need to mention, for those folks who aren't quite sure, that we're really only a few blocks off County Street.
Exactly. We're in the heart of the immigrant population.
And in this building, besides the center, there is also a library.
Exactly. Casa do Saudade Library, who happened to be established also in 1971, who are also in this building since 1976. And what is interesting is that a lot of people, especially Portuguese people, confuse the Immigrants Assistance Center with Casa do Saudade and Casa do Saudade with the Immigrants Assistance Center. The Casa do Saudade is still getting calls and saying Casa do Saudade, but they actually are looking for the Immigrants Assistance Center.
Right. The only thing you share is an address. Really.
Absolutely. We're totally separated.
Now, with all the many programs that you are involved with, please, for our viewers, what are the top 3, 4, 5?
Okay, there's quite a few. Well, first of all, we have a case management program. But it happens, our case management program is that we call the immigrant services. So in other words, we have a pretty large clientele who are immigrants, Portuguese, Spanish, Cape Verdean, or other ethnic groups to come in, for example, and somebody might have lost a job, right, and they're looking for employment, so we help find employment. We work very closely with employers locally. Or someone might be getting a letter, or that they need to translate, or they might be having some financial crisis in their lives, or they might be other issues. Maybe somebody has a drug problem, or maybe somebody has an alcoholic problem, or maybe some domestic violence issues. So what we do is we help them help them with everything we possibly can to help the family in a crisis, because I think that's important to mention that we have quite a few families that are immigrants that are coming in crisis situations. So that being said, we also help, I would say we service about 7,000 immigrants per year.
Wow.
Half of them are families and the other half are non-English speaking elders. So I would say out of the non-English speaking elders, I would say the majority of those elders are Portuguese speakers, are people that have immigrated many, many years ago. They were actually the first ones to immigrate. And they are, many of them are illiterate in their own language. Some of them even have less than a third grade education. So even though that population has been in the United States for many, many years, because of they have low literacy skills, and some of them cannot read and write in their own language, that is one of the reasons why that population never really learned how to speak English. And then fortunately, they continue to really need our services. So with that population, there's a lot of hand-holding that we provide. So I would say we see per month, about 225 non-English speaking elders. And out of those 225, we have some of them that come in 3 or 4 or 5 times during the month because they do not. So every time they get like a letter, sometimes they panic, especially for something from Social Security. They already can tell it's something from Social Security based on the envelope, or sometimes it's junk mail, but they get a lot of anxiety. So they're coming in and so from anything to everything. So what we're seeing is that population, we saw them coming in, and throughout the years, as they're getting older, a lot of them are women. And one of the things that we were finding is that a lot of them were very isolated. I mean, they stayed in the community because of the church, but majority of their children have moved to the suburbs, so they're very isolated. So, of course, they're coming in with letters, and we're helping them navigate through programs, especially when it comes to health insurance. It's like so confusing, never mind for someone who cannot speak English. So we are constantly translating letters from Social Security, letters from Mass Health, what's going on, Tufts Health Plan, whatever the health plan. So we actually also have Shine counselors on board here. Some of our staff are Shine counselors, because we
I'm going to stop you there. Let's explain to the viewers what Shine is, because they may not be familiar
Okay,
with that.
a Shine counselor, that means because of what's going on with healthcare, right? So Shine counselors are someone that are constantly being educated about what's happening with the health insurance, right? So they are, especially with our elders, so about Medicare, or about the different programs that they can. So if somebody is like, they get Medicare, right? Medicare pays for 80%, so they need a supplement of insurance, right, to cover for the other 20%. So a Shine counselor will help our elders navigate through the chaos of health insurance. So that's what a Shine counselor, specifically for the elders. So it was very important for me to have our staff, our senior coordinator, and of course also Dulce Oliveira and Philomene Tavares, to be trained to be Shine counselors. So they go constantly, they're certified, so they're constantly going to meetings to be educated, and then they come back and they're able to assist our elders with health care.
So that kind of covers case management.
That's right. That's actually our number one.
Okay.
Our number one. And the second project that we had, we were very concerned with the high school dropout. Back in 2009, everyone was talking about the percentage of high school, the dropout rate. And I always kept raising the question about what percentage of the high school dropout are children who English is not the first language. Myself being a product of bilingual education, when I came in 1971, bilingual education was in place. So when I was privileged to be put in a bilingual program and have the choice of a bilingual program, which means for about a year and a half, I was in a bilingual program, which means if I did not understand what was going on in the classroom, I could raise my hand and have someone who could speak Portuguese explain it to me, which I thought was perfect, right? And they did away. So I'm a product of bilingual education. So in 2001, the bilingual education was basically stopped. in Massachusetts and I guess throughout. And so I thought right away when they did away with the bilingual program, they took the safety net for children who English was not the first language. So when I kept hearing about the high school dropout, I already knew the answer, but I wanted the answer from other people. So eventually, of course, as we all know, the highest percentage of children who are not graduating are children who English is not the first language. Because of that concern, there's a project that was created called the Amigos Project, which stands for A, Multilingual International Guidance Outreach Services. And what the mission of the Amigos Project is to be placed in the schools to provide family engagement and provide also oral interpretation in the schools.
Does that Amigos program still exist?
Yes, it does. So in 2009, when we created this project, we knew that Darcy Fernandez was the principal at Roosevelt Middle School. And one of the issues that she was having was that how come that the immigrant parents were not really being involved were not being engaged in the education of their children. And one of the things that she told me was 90% of her staff did not speak another language. And it was very obvious to her also to realize that parents were not being engaged because there was no one communicating with them in their language. So there was a total disconnection. So when the Amigos Project was placed at Roosevelt, was placed with almost no money, because I knew that was key to really get family engaged, and it did. But Roosevelt never became a level 3. So throughout the years, I've been able to get money through MetLife Foundation, and now Bristol County Savings Foundation has actually given a small grant to actually bring us back to Roosevelt. But in the meantime, we were able to place something very similar to the Amigos Project at New Bedford High School. And we're going into the 5th year at the high school, at the family engagement at the high school. And our role is to work with immigrant youth who are at risk of dropping out. That's very similar. It's part of the Amigos Project also. And we're also at Hayden McFadden. We're also going into our 5th year at Hayden McFadden. So we are but it seems like we only get placed in when schools are either at level 4 or they're in jeopardy. Which, to me, just makes sense that let's prevent that from being in jeopardy. And I really feel, especially when we have such a diverse community, that is extremely important. If you want your family engagement portion, you need to really focus on exactly what the needs of the immigrant population is.
So when it's concerned with high school dropouts, Immigrants Assistance Center comes in. And do you work with the parents? Do you work with the
both
students?
We are working both with the parents and the students.
And the school?
In the school setting. So we actually have, for example, we have Liz Lozado, who's Spanish, who's actually works at the Family Engagement Center, which is staff of the Immigrants Assistance Center. So we actually, one of our staff are in the schools providing the support, and at the same time, if they know that their family is in actually need, they are referred to the Immigrants Assistance to the case management program.
Okay, you said the school.
Yeah.
There are a lot of schools.
We're actually right now, we are at New Bedford High School. We're at Hayden McFadden. And we have some funding until October of this year at Roosevelt Middle School.
Ok, now what we're doing is they're playing cards. Como é o nome do jogo que vocês estão a brincar?
Sueca.
A sueca. The name of the game, the card-playing game is sueca. It's a very well-known Portuguese card game. So that's what they're doing right now over here with our lovely people, our lovely members of our group. And what they're going to be doing later is, as you can see, they're going to be playing bingo. But instead of having, what they do is these are buttons. So this is going to be what they do. They play with the buttons, and this is how they're going to be playing bingo. They usually play bingo. Vocês jogam o bingo depois do almoço, não é?
Yeah.
Yeah, after lunch, which... depois do almoço. So after lunch, after a very light lunch that they're going to be having, they are going to be playing bingo. So they all love to play bingo. And as you can see, some of them already have their cards with their buttons so they can play the bingo later on. as we are coming here, I think there are... Vocês estão a ler o quê? Oh, they're reading about names that people used to name their children in prior years or a long time ago, and it has the names and the names and what the meaning of the name is. It's a Portuguese book about names, so that's what they're doing. And one of the things that... Quem é que estava a fazer tricô? Eu posso ver, pode tirar do saquinho. And this, this lady is making crochet, and it's actually some beautiful work. Elders and Portuguese in general they are very well know a lot about the needlework. So this is some of the needlework that they do, and I know that many times they do a lot of crochet, but this is a lot of the needlework that they do. And as if you can tell, they all like to play bingo because they all have their bingo cards in front of them. And so I think they are getting ready to have lunch. And actually, Senhora Pereira, o que está a ver?
Eu queria escolher desenho para a gente tirar para fazermos a nossa pintura.
And now Senhora Pereira is looking at a book with the designs, so later on they can do a painting of it. So she's just going through the book right now to choose a painting which they're going to be doing it after lunch. There is this painting right here is the Tree of Life. So this is most likely what the group is going to be painting this afternoon after lunch. Okay. So they choose what they want to paint later on. So this is what they're going to be doing. Obrigada. And of course, the gentlemen, some read and some they're also ready to play bingo. And as you can tell, the majority are women in our group. And so I know today is pretty raining outside. I think one of our biggest challenges that we're having is with our group is when it rains, transportation is a huge challenge that we're facing with our group. We have 45 members. We have 45 members that have signed up for the group, and sometimes not all of them show up. And I would say that one of the calls that I keep getting is if we can only get transportation for then our elders from the north end can come to our group, because we really find that because the reason why this group was created was because a lot of them are isolated and feel they suffer from depression and anxiety, and we want to make sure that they have a very safe place where culturally it's very culturally centered. So this is actually this group is really good for the well-being. And this, of course, we've published a book called Verses of Our Lives, and it's embracing aging, and it's a project, a poetry project that our members of our Portuguese elder group have. Within the group, there's a poetry group, and this book was a book that is all original poems. And Maria Pereira, it was also one of our poets, and the book is mostly about immigration, the loss of a loved one, and challenges of life. And it's a pretty powerful book. And members of our elder group are the ones who were the writers of these poems. And what we did is we were able to publish the book with the support of United Healthcare. They are the ones who sponsored the book. And now we sell the book for $10 each. And we can also buy the book on our website, which is immigrantsassistancecenter.org. You can go in and purchase the book, and all of the proceeds from the book, which is $10, goes to help support our Portuguese elder group. Hi, this is Maria Pereira. She is actually one of the poets, of the major poets, actually, in our poetry group. And I am going... A senhora quer mostrar assim, o livro, para a gente todos ver. O livro, the book, again, it's a book that was within our elder group, we have a poetry group, which members of, and Maria Pereira is one of them. And so what we did is we wanted to make a lot of these poems are all original, and these poems are all either about immigration, their immigration, the country they left behind, the country here in the United States, the loss of the loved ones. Some of them are religious, and I am going to have Maria recite one of her poems. It's all in Portuguese, but there is a subtitle in a little description of each poem in English. And the books are $10 each. And we had the financial support of United Health to make it pop, so we could basically print the books. So I'm going to ask Maria to recite a poem. Okay, diga.
Vou dizer poema de O Meu Pico.
Pico is where she was born.
Meu pico, meu príncipe, meu companheiro, desde as primeiras horas da vida. Acolheste-me nos teus braços, no teu colo fiz minha dormida. Com tua forma de ser, por vezes rude também, aprendi a viver, foste a minha terra-mãe. De ti recebi carinho e algumas vezes tortura. Puseste a saudade em meu caminho, mas ensinaste-me a ternura. Hoje sou uma pedra quebrada, que de ti partiu e foi em movimento, rolando, rolando pela encomiada da vida, e ainda não encontrou assentamento.
Yes, the poem is definitely, it's beautiful. It's about Pico, which is her Pico, which is the place where she was born, and and it's very touching. And it has a little bit in English about, so if anyone who's interested in buying the book, you will also know exactly what the poems are about.
Or you can come here to our center and pick one up.
Okay, exactly. Yeah, okay. You can actually purchase the book also on our website, but you can also come here to the Immigrants Assistance Center here at 58 Crapo Street in New Bedford, Mass. In actually the south end of New Bedford. Actually, our building used to be called many years ago the Thompson Street School, but now it's so you can come here at 58 Crapo Street and you can purchase the book. It's $10 a piece, and for all of the proceeds from the book is to help these our Portuguese elder group.
Essa também eu gosto muito.
Yeah, she has another one too if you wanted to recite. Okay, Senhora Pereira, diga.
Diga.
Yeah.
Ó pedras da minha rua, calçada do meu caminho, onde o meu amor andava passo a passo mansinho. Ó pedras da minha rua, muro do meu jardim, onde o meu amor se debruçava para fazer carinho para mim. Ó pedras da minha rua, calçada da minha infância, ainda me lembro de vós quando eu era criança. Ó pedras da minha rua, onde estás vós agora? Sepultadas para sempre, não tens mais o brilho de outrora.
It's absolutely beautiful. Her poems actually make me cry, so. But so that's what I wanted to mention. And you can come to the Immigrants Assistance Center. I also wanted to mention that our Portuguese elder group meet every Tuesday. They're here from 11 o'clock in the morning, and they stay sometimes until about close to 4. And it's a group that we started basically based on the fact that a lot of our elders were isolated, and we just needed somewhere to go that they could kind of relate to each other. And this group, this is where they are. They're a lot, I'd say majority of the members of our group were the first ones to immigrate to the United States many years ago. And so I think that we needed to make sure that we had a place that they could all get together and play cards, get to talk about their, what they went through, and also remember what they are going to. I think they're given a signal that they're going to stop. They're going to pray and then they're going to eat. So then I'm going to have to stop now. Thank you.
Os embaixadores ou interlocutores estão ao alcance de cada cama.
No quarto. Estamos a falar do quarto, ok?
Agora nos quartos. E os interlocutores estão ao alcance de cada cama.
Sim? Não? Não. A mobília está organizada de modo que você pode se movimentar facilmente no quarto.
Olha, depois não dá para outra que não dá nada outra opção. Não tem nada outra opção.
Há algum apoio firme perto da cama onde você possa se apoiar ao se deitar a levantar da cama? Tem? Ok.
Se você necessita usar um vaso sanitário com frequência,